All right, today we're going to tackle one of the biggest, oldest questions there is. What exactly is the self? We're going to explore a really fascinating and kind of radical new theory that suggests that you feel inside your head, well, it isn't what you think it is at all. So let's dive right in.
I mean, seriously, just think about it for a second. Right now, you're listening, you're watching, you're thinking. But who is the you at the very center of all of that? What is this self that feels like it's witnessing your entire life unfold? It's a question every single one of us asks. And the answer? Well, it might be hiding in plain sight.
So to get to this new idea, we've actually got to start by tackling the old one. The most common answer, the one that just feels intuitively right to pretty much all of us. Let's call it the ghost in the machine. You know this feeling, right? It's that sense that there's a little person, a CEO in the control room of your head, sitting behind your eyes, pulling the levers and just watching the movie of your life. And this little CEO is the one who owns your attention and decides where to point it. It feels so true, but, and this is a big but, this idea has a huge fatal flaw.
And this is where the whole thing just starts to crumble. I mean, if there's a little CEO inside your head watching the world, then what's going on inside that CEO's head? Is there an even tinier CEO in there watching its screen? You can probably see where this is going.
Yeah, this is what philosophers call an infinite regress. It's like those Russian nesting dolls, but they go on forever. The idea of an inner watcher just creates this endless chain that doesn't actually explain anything. The whole story just collapses under its own weight because the fundamental assumption that there's a thing inside doing the watching, it's just wrong.
Okay, so if the self isn't a little person in our head, then what on earth is it? This is where things get really, really interesting. Let's explore a fascinating alternative. What if the self isn't a thing at all? What if it's a process?
Okay, this right here, this is the absolute core of the whole idea. Just let that sink in for a second. The I isn't behind the mechanism of attention. The I is the mechanism. It's not the driver of the car, it's the very act of driving. So let's really put these two ideas side by side. On the one hand, you've got the old idea, some secret CEO, a hidden agent inside you that owns your attention like a tool. But on the other hand, this new idea says, no, there's no secret agent. The self is simply the visible process of attention in action, this constant learned steering of your focus from one moment to the very next. So probably the simplest way to think about it is this. Your self isn't a noun, it's a verb. It's what you're doing every single second of the day. It's this active filtering of reality, constantly deciding, okay, this matters now, that doesn't. Amplify this signal, ignore that one. It's the process that creates a coherent stream of thought and action. All right, so that's a pretty wild theory. But does it actually hold up? Does it match how our minds actually feel from the inside? Well, let's find out, because this idea brilliantly explains some of the absolute strangest features of our own consciousness. Think about your brain. It is a massively parallel processor. It's like a computer with a million tabs open at once. Sights, sounds, memories, emotions, all happening at the same time. So, why does your conscious experience feel like one single continuous story? Why does it feel like there's only one you experiencing one single now?
And this theory gives us a brilliant answer. The self acts as a binding bottleneck. See, in order for you to do anything coherent, to say one sentence, to take one step, your brain has to take all that parallel noise and squeeze it down into a single focused output. And that process of binding everything together into one, this is what matters now, that is what creates the feeling of a singular I.
Okay, but what about free will? What about choice? Well, this model explains that feeling of agency perfectly too. That feeling of choosing isn't some illusion. It's the very real, physical process of your attentional system steering itself. Your brain is literally amplifying one impulse, shutting down competing ones, and selecting a single path forward. It's not a ghost making a choice, it's the system itself doing real, tangible selection.
All right, let's try a quick experiment right now. Just for a moment, look inside your own mind and try to find the I. Not your name or your personality, but the raw experiencer at the very center of it all. Look for the thing that's doing the looking. What do you actually find?
So, what did you find? My guess is you just found more experiences, right? You found thoughts about yourself, some sensations in your body, maybe a mental picture of your own face, or an emotional feeling.
But did you ever find the actual experiencer as a separate object you could look at? Yeah, it's just not there, is it?
And here's why. You can't find the self for the exact same reason you can't see your own eyes without a mirror. The self isn't an object in your experience, it is the very process that's organizing your experience. It's the looking itself, not something that can be looked at. It's the spotlight, not something caught in the beam.
So this is way more than just a philosophical game. If this theory is right, it has profound and frankly urgent implications for how we live our lives. This is where we get to the part about why your attention is literally the most important thing you have.
Think about it this way. Whatever you pay attention to, that's what your brain works on. And whatever your brain works on, those are the circuits that get reinforced and strengthened. Over time, these patterns become your default way of being, which means the you that wakes up tomorrow morning is literally built, piece by piece, from where your attention went today.
And doesn't that just perfectly explain why constant distraction feels so awful, so fragmenting? When your attention is constantly being hijacked by notifications and algorithms and endless scrolling, you're not just losing focus on your work. The very coherence of the process that you call I starts to degrade. You're losing that stable steering mechanism that creates a unified self.
So let's bring all this home. It's fascinating. Back in 2017, AI researchers published this groundbreaking paper titled "Attention is All You Need." Now, from their perspective, as people building intelligent systems, they were basically saying that this one mechanism, attention, was the key to unlocking powerful AI.
But fast forward to today, and for us, as users navigating this world, that statement has taken on a whole new meaning. Attention is all I have. It feels like our most precious, our most scarce resource. It's the currency that everyone is trying to take from us every single moment.
But as we've explored today, we can take this one final, breathtaking step further. This isn't just about building AIs, and it's not just about a scarce resource. This becomes a theory of selfhood itself. Attention is all I am. It's not something the self does or has. It's what the self is.
And that leaves us with a final, absolutely crucial takeaway. If the self is the learned steering of attention, then protecting that attention isn't just some nice-to-have self-care practice. It's not about productivity hacks. It's self-preservation. It is the fundamental act of holding yourself together, of maintaining a coherent self in a world that wants to pull you apart. Because in the end, what you attend to is what you become.